Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Smooch Spill, Smooch Ice Cream's brand new podcast hosted by me, Shauna Doyle. This podcast is where we react to some of our listeners' anonymous confessions, secrets, and iconic life moments. And we had so much fun recording this podcast, so we hope you enjoy it too. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Smooch and Spill. Today we are here with Marty Guilfoyle, who we were just saying has so many different careers and has achieved so much over the last few years. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. So work away.
Hey, Shauna, how are you?
Good.
So my name is Marty Guilfoyle. I'm a radio DJ and music artist. So I think I'll keep it at that. Bar having a major addiction to TikTok thanks to the pandemic. I think that kind of covers it all.
Yeah, and literally you are blowing up on TikTok. Like, how many followers do you have now? Like 500,000-ish?
I'm nearly there. I'm nearly able to say that, but we're getting there.
Amazing. And how did you even get started on TikTok? Obviously, yeah, like you said, it's like pandemic kind of led. I think we all started doing like viral dances and everything, but like it's really worked out well for you.
Yeah, when I first started using it, I had 3 or 4 gigs before the pandemic kind of hit. So I was before the pandemic on it, and I was doing like mashups and remixes of popular TikTok songs during my live gigs, and a couple of videos blew up before the pandemic, nabbed an audience, and then I just kept it during the pandemic doing mashups and stuff. So yeah.
Unreal, brilliant. And obviously then you were on Instagram and all the rest of it as well. Do you think you prefer the kind of like DJ presenting part of your career, or do you like the social media parts, or do you kind of like them all for different reasons?
Yeah, it's a DJ presenting part that I love the most. But obviously the social media kind of comes with that, doesn't it? Like you can't in this day and age be a DJ and not have an Instagram or a TikTok account, I find. So it's part of it all, but I enjoy it. And it was nice then because like I was thinking about it yesterday. We're looking at maybe 18, 19 months since our last gig. So it's kind of like it was kind of nice to go onto TikTok and kind of do what you would do at your gigs, but at the same time, it's like I miss an audience so much, like a live crowd. So
Yeah, I was just about to
we'll
say.
get there though.
Yeah, I was just about to say, do you prefer like the DJing at like gigs or like DJing as in like on the radio? But I presume it's probably more gigs as your scene.
Gigs, yeah, traveling around Ireland, seeing people, having drinks with people, and eating food that's not in Dublin, and then even the gigs abroad too. Like I miss them so much as well. But I feel like we're kind of at that stage now where we're getting back. You know, people can travel abroad now. People have their certificates, and I think that we're on the home stretch now. Well, I like to think we are anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I just cannot wait to go to a festival. Do you think that we'll have
Electric Picnic.
Yeah.
I'm confident in Electric Picnic. I really, really am. I'm the way the vaccine rollout is happening at the moment, and like I know cases are going up and stuff, but I mean we knew that was going to happen when restrictions started easing. That's what should happen. Let's go.
I know. And if Electric Picnic does go ahead, will you be playing, or are you not allowed to say?
Absolutely. Come on. Yeah. I've been playing
Yes.
it the last couple of years, so I'll be so excited. I'll be buzzed. Yeah.
I
I
finally
don't care
get
if
to see you.
I know, yeah. It's been so long, like, and hopefully, whether it's 10 people or 1,000 people, like, I wouldn't care, just to have that festival vibe, and then to wear mad shirts and you can get your mad outfits going. I'd say everyone's buzzing for it, like, so yeah.
Definitely. And you announced a very exciting announcement recently. Tell us about that. I nearly fell off my chair when I saw it.
Yeah. Thank you, Shauna. Yeah, I'm after signing a long-term deal with SONY Records, which is like surreal. Part of their sub-label Relentless. So they've got a whole bunch of sub-labels. You get scouted for one that they think suits you. And Relentless they're such a cool team. Like they've got Heady One, Bryson Tiller, Alan Watt. They've got some really cool artists, and I'm just so excited to be like working with them. So yeah, it's cool. We're re-releasing Wanna Get Down, and then we're gonna look at maybe 8, 9, 10 tracks between now and next August. We're just gonna dish them out. So
unreal. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I actually love your music. Rember before we were even like friends, I just used to like share like your
oh my god, I
songs
loved it. I would go on Instagram one day and I'd be like, what am I gonna post today? And it'll be like, Shauna Doyle has tagged you in her story. And I'm like, Shauna's got me. Yes.
I'll just never forget the time when you gave me a shout out on the radio, like the actual radio being like,
yes. I remember that as well. Oh my God, you were mortified, but it was so funny as well. Yeah.
Okay, so what does the year ahead look like for you? Corona's gone. What are the plans? Any exciting projects? Obviously, you're signed with Sony now. Let's say festivals are back. Will you go to Ibiza? What's the plan?
Oh, that'd be ideal. Yeah, a UK. I want to do kind of a tour of the UK and kind of see what the club scene is like over there. I've done Ireland to death for the last 10 years. So now I'm like, right, let's do the UK. So that's what the whole thing with Sony hopefully will work out to do. And yeah, just travel, meet new people, play music, and have a pint of Bulmers somewhere that's not the back garden or in the kitchen,
100%. And you know what? I think the UK nearly has better concerts and like festivals than like Ibiza now, because it's just such like a party vibe, especially like techno and EDM and all that. It's just like so big all over the UK.
Nailed it. Yeah, the dance scene over there is massive at the moment. Like it always has been, but it's going to be extra big as well because obviously they're allowed to have their clubs open and their festivals back now. And I just think it's going to head the way that the UK is going to be the place to be, So
definitely. And what would be your dream festival to play at? Like if you have to manifest right now?
Has to be Tomorrowland. Like I refuse. I have this really weird thing where I refuse to go to Tomorrowland unless I'm playing at it because I'd be too jealous of the DJs playing at it. It's the only festival in the world that I've done that with. And so hopefully Tomorrowland, like over the next 2 years, that would be the dream for sure.
That would be unreal. What about like Creamfields Park life kind of a vibe?
Yeah, they'd be great, but they've never kind of like the ones that I've been like, this is the one that I want to. Obviously, I want to play at them big time. And then obviously Coachella. After being to Coachella in LA, I've always said I wanted to play there too. I'm roasting here. It's so warm in Ireland. Just thinking when you go to Coachella, it's like the same weather constantly. And I'm just thinking like it'd be one sweaty DJ set.
Yeah, I was just about to say I'm so jealous that you've been to Coachella. That's like your version of Tomorrowland is my Coachella.
Yeah. You would laugh Coachella up. The fashion, just everything. It has you written all over it. So the day that you get to go is going to be a good day for sure.
Yeah, but like it's in saying that, I'm not good with the heat. Like me in the middle of a desert, trying to get the Instagram pictures with the sweat pouring off me. Like,
so the funny thing about it is, all right, is that it is hot, it is warm, and that does happen. But the festival doesn't start till later on the day, and it actually gets really cold at night there. Because it's a desert, there's no clouds, there's no heat being trapped in. So you'll get all your gram pics and all, and there's something pouring off you. But a lot of people get their gram pics in their mad outfits like Coachella, and then they change out of them. They're gone. They're done. Yeah.
I thought that because I even do that at Electric Picnic. I get up early in the morning when I'm fresh and I get my mad pictures when it's like not as hot, even though last time I was at Electric Picnic was actually roasting. And then like by 3-4 p.m. I'm in like my Penny's tracksuit, like living like because it's just not realistic. Like I even remember seeing one of your outfits and I was you and Neve, I think, but like leather feathers. I was like, they are probably actually melting.
I'll stop. So Neve Cullen, she posted a picture in these like black tight pants and she had the black feathers and she had this black leather jacket. Now I actually replicated it, just taking the piss out of her as a joke. She took it well. It was okay. And then I changed straight out of that. And one of the days I did wear skinny jeans and I kind of wore like a leopard skin shirt and I had this kind of black hat and the shades and all to go with it because I was like, you know what, we'll go all out for one of the days. And I lasted easily no more than an hour in that. It was straight out of it, back into shorts, back into a tank top. Because 90% of the people there are just wearing casual kind of clothes like tank tops and stuff. And then it's the 10% that are like, I'm at Coachella, need to do this for the gram, need to get the mad outfits on. So
I even find that when you go to festivals, like it's all the same. There's like that small group of people who go all out and then everyone else is just like shorts and wellies. Like that's
normal. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it'd be so much easier to do that as well.
So much easier and cheaper as well. Like I can't even imagine how much Coachella must cost to go to.
So it's actually not that bad. You can get packages from hotels, that will have your ticket, your stay, transfers to the festival and back. The expensive part of the festival is actually in the festival where food is crazy prices. Drinks are like $15 to $20 for like a cocktail. Burgers are like $20. That's where the expensive part is for sure.
Yeah, and before we get into the secrets, how did you actually start your kind of career with radio? Because I know so many people listening want to get into between content, TikTok, radio. I know it's all sort of different, but that's kind of where you started off as more radio, wasn't it? And then kind of into your different avenues.
Just made a phone call. I was a teenager. I was listening to a radio station called 98 FM and I was like, this sounds like so much fun. The guy who was presenting was making me feel good. He was having a good time. His living was to play music. I still can't remember who I was listening to at the time. And I just Googled radio stations near me, and one in Lucan popped up, a community radio station. I'd say they have about 10 listeners every day at most. It's like a proper community radio station.
Yeah.
And they took me in and they were like, yeah, go on. We like your confidence. Go talk. So I used my stuff there to send a demo to Spin. And they got back to me going, look, this is actually really bad, but we hear potential. Yeah, they told me straight up they didn't like it, but they hear potential and they brought me in.
I feel like TV and radio is very much like that, isn't it? It's very like cutthroat. Like if you're not,
that's it.
Yeah, like you have to have a thick skin, and I even find that sometimes with like Instagram kind of content creation. Like you could reach out to a brand, like pitch yourself and say, I'm perfect for this, and they literally would say, no, you're not.
No,
straight back.
Just straight off, no. And like I always say to anybody who's getting involved in whether it's radio or, you know, content creation or TV or whatever it might be, is that you get told no 95% of the time. Like it's so normal to be told no. And I think the first couple of no's kind of hammer people's confidence. But when you realize that that's kind of like the main part of the game, you just got to keep going. Then it's like, oh, this is actually kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And then everything just kind of sprouted from there.
Yeah, literally. I just kept on going from there, from that to the clubs. And I just haven't slept really in the last 11 years. But this year, I never would have thought that it would have paid off at the end of a global pandemic. But a year and a half ago, I was like, not thinking of other careers, but thinking of like, right, if DJing doesn't come back, what happens? And it's gonna be even bigger now, which I'm so grateful for.
For sure. So, I kind of had a moment like that as well, like when everything was closing down, I was like, oh my god, is like being a blogger like ever going to be a thing? Like, is it going to be like just fall off the face of the earth? So I definitely had that like moment of panic as well.
It's like a proper crisis, isn't it? You're sitting there and you're like looking at your social media channels and you're thinking, what happens if this just dies tomorrow, you know? Like
yeah, so, I know. We can go through the secrets, and because you are our guest, I'm going to let you pick the first one and react to whichever one you want.
During lockdown, I got my girlfriend to do all my accounting exams for me since our open book, and ended up getting a first. Family are delighted. I never even lifted a pen. That is gas. And I was talking recently only with somebody who was telling me about the whole open book exam thing, and because I'm not using my degree in college to do what I want to do, I went to college for the college experience, you know what I mean, rather than to get the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, if you're actually studying something that you really want to do, isn't this like ideal? Isn't it? Like, isn't it the situation that you want to be in? You know?
It is. It definitely is.
So when I saw that, I was like, I literally only had this conversation with someone 2 days ago about how they were like studying and they really wanted to do what they were studying, and it was actually really helpful in the end.
Yeah. At least you would do much better that way as well.
Yeah.
So I spotted one here and it's a bit outrageous. I wrote the wrong name on the guest book at a wedding. I put down the groom's ex's name.
I've always wondered that when you get to the stage of marrying somebody, like if an ex's name is brought up, does it still anger you? Or are you so
things? I think it definitely still sting. Yeah.
You think so? Yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, you've gotten that far, you're on your big day. If somebody mentions your other half's ex, are you gonna get thick with it, or are you just kind of like, okay, it's a long time ago?
Oh no, I'd still be up the walls. It's a no for me.
This one, okay. So I would never let my mum do this, but my mum takes my pictures for me as I don't have anyone else to do it, and I've grown 1,000 followers in the last month. But my friends are constantly taking the piss out of me, and it makes me so awkward. They always slag me in front of new people, saying I'm trying so hard to be an influencer. Shouldn't your friends hype you up? This one is so relatable. Now, I'd never let my mum take my pictures, but the initial putting yourself out there at the start is the hardest part, really. Your friends should be hyping you up, but I find that when it comes to like working online, doing stuff that's not kind of perceived to be as work, that the people who are doing what you would consider to be your ordinary jobs, there can be a bit of jealousy behind it. So, I do think that like as a human, sometimes you can find it hard to hype somebody up that's doing something that you really want to do. I wouldn't say jealousy, maybe more like envy, you know, because I'll openly admit that I'm envious of a lot of people. I'm envious of Tiesto. He travels the world DJing. He's in his mid-50s. And he's been killing it for the last 20 years. Like, I'm envious of him. You know, I can admit that when I'm envious of somebody, I personally wouldn't put them down. I do think your friends should be hyping you up. But at the same time, I can weirdly understand why they don't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes I say that as well. I'm like, there's a difference between someone not understanding what you do and not like respecting what you do. And I think the line can
Yeah.
become very fine at times.
It's hard for people to kind of go, well, I'm sitting here doing this and this is work. How come they get to go out and take a photo and that's work? You know what I mean? Like, it is hard to understand, but it's the most 2021 thing ever. It really is. Like, I'm seeing courses pop up
I
that
know.
you'd never have thought were possible, years ago.
I feel like, especially with the work that we do, you just have to nearly accept the fact that it comes with like people slating you or trolling you or whatever. I suppose that's probably another good point to make. Do you have any advice for anyone who is just starting out and they're like, how can I get through this? Like, because obviously trolling gets really bad for some people and it makes them like give up and stuff. Like, do you have any kind of words of wisdom even to be like, don't listen? Because I always tell myself, I'm like, it's not you, it's them. They're projecting. Like, don't listen. Like, it's their own issues.
Yeah.
That's what I like tell myself. But like, how do you kind of go about these things?
It's so cliche, isn't it, for someone to just go, it's all them, don't listen to them. Like I and you kind of can only hear that so many times, can't you,
For
before the
sure.
person really does get you. But there's something that my dad told me. This is ages ago. He told me this because it's been consistent for me over the last 10 years. But what's happened now is, so it used to start off as like texts into the radio station because that was their way of getting in touch. And then obviously it's gone on to Instagram comments, TikTok comments especially, and then you've got Twitter too. And my dad once said 30 years ago, okay, if we were around and we were doing our job, for someone to troll us and to really get under our skin, they would have to sit down, they'd have to write a letter, they'd have to go to the post office, they'd have to buy a stamp, and they'd have to send it to your workplace.
100%.
Now it's just so easy for them to get in touch with you that's why they're doing it. A lot of these people as well don't actually think you're going to see their comments, which is another thing. And that when you do make it clear that you've seen it, then they do kind of backtrack a little bit a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's a really good way of thinking about it. That to everything. I'm like, if a fake account texts me or anything, I'm just like, if you can't even put like your picture, your name, your age, and your address on your bio, like what you have to say is very irrelevant.
I know. And the funny thing is, sometimes those accounts, you'd be surprised that have fake profile pictures and fake bios and no followers. Like a lot of the time it's someone that you actually know as well. And so you think, oh, this stranger it could be someone you know too, so again, I know we said it's cliche, it does say more about them than it does about you. I just can't imagine using like this time we have on this planet, like given what's happened the last year and a half, to set up fake accounts and to like leave negativity and so on. I can't understand it, but again, it goes back to, look, if they can do it that easily, then they're gonna do it.
Next one, I was chatting to this girl from a dating app for ages, got on really well. I was very attracted to her. We arranged to go on a date. When she showed up, she looked completely different. I could barely tell she was the same girl. She had a completely different hair color, and it was obvious that she had edited her photos a lot because she looked nothing like the pictures. Finished the date and never saw her again. Have you ever been catfished?
So when it comes to dating apps, like I have never really used them. I did end up having a girlfriend once from it, and I wasn't catfished. That was through Bumble. But I know people have used me to meet up with other people. Remember, one guy told me a story before that he was on Grindr. Some guy was using his pictures, that he thought it was me, and that I had a different name and stuff because I didn't want people to think that I was gay, and when I'm straight, and that it was the kind of like a hidden thing, that I was testing the waters.
Oh my
He went
God.
up to meet. He went to meet up with the guy, and it was someone completely different, different nationality, the whole lot. And he messaged me to tell me that this story still blows my mind. He messaged me to tell me that, look, there's this guy doing this. He's pretending to be you. He's clearly meeting up with people because I thought I was meeting you. But then he put it back on him. So the guy who he met up with said, look, I find this really unfair that you don't want to hang out with me and talk to me, because all this time we've been talking, we've been telling each other, our past, about our lives, what we want to do. I'm still that person. I just look different. And he put it back on the guy, saying that he was very shallow, that it was disrespectful of him.
Oh my God.
Very weird, very weird. And at the end of the day, I think that we live in a day and age where if you're on a dating app, you are allowed, I think, get annoyed if somebody doesn't look how they do on their app, on the app. I think that I think I think you need full disclosure. I think like in everything, if you went online, you bought like a jumper, I'm not saying it's the same thing. No, but think about it. And it
Does not
arrived and
match
it was,
description shown.
no, it was like a different color or something or whatever. Like, I mean, like you're gonna want to send it back. You're gonna be like, this is not what I saw online. And I think that if you use a dating app, you need to be wary of that. Like I think that the person is right to not meet up with them again. Like I think they are.
I think what happened to you was very strange. And the fact that they were
Yeah,
putting it back on the other person is like gaslighting at its best.
gaslighting at its best, dead right. Again, like it's a tough one as well because whatever's going on in that person's head, they're obviously feeling hard done by, and they're a little bit insecure, and you kind of have to have sympathy from that point of view too. And you could argue, well, yeah, if you're talking to somebody online and you're telling them everything, you're telling them everything based on how that they're interacting with you and not how they look.
Yeah.
But because it's 2021, you open up the conversation because you've seen how they look. So, and if you're lying about
I know
that,
what you mean. Yeah, no, that is so true because, and you know what, that's kind of a reason why I tend not to use dating apps is because you're literally saying yes or no by like their looks as opposed to like, when you meet someone in like a club, obviously you're still kind of judging by looks, but at least you're chatting to them and like getting a vibe. Whereas like you can't even talk to someone on like Tinder or Bumble unless you initially are physically attracted to them, which is kind of
I
unusual.
know it is mad, yeah. And then, like you said, on the whole night out thing as well, is that somebody that might not be aesthetically someone that you would go for usually could, like, woo you in another way that you never would have found out if you were swiping on a dating app. So I'm always going to stick with, like, I met my new girlfriend in the gym, and we loved that. We loved that we met in person. We got talking in person.
Even though I actually don't mind dating apps, but I feel like sometimes you're nearly forcing yourself to find someone as opposed to it just like happening naturally. Like I find out
Yeah,
on Island as well. It's like you go on and like the first thing you do is like pick people before you even talk, like just judging by what they look like. You're like,
yeah.
that's so strange.
But that's just the day and age we're in right now. So, like, people just got to play the game, Shauna. You know what I mean?
This is it. You just got to do what you got to do. Maybe there's Love Island yet for me, but I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think I can cope with
I
it.
would love to see you on it. Oh my god, you would do so good on it.
I
You'd
think
have
I
a good
low
time.
key would love it. And I think I'd low
Yeah,
key good at like the challenges and stuff. But I'd also be like, oh my god, my mom is literally watching me doing like a sex positions challenge right now.
yeah. And then the fear of not knowing what people are saying about you as well, and what way the show is being edited and stuff like that
Yeah,
would get me big time.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Okay, I think it's your turn to go for one.
Accidentally left the tap on in the bathrooms in my office, and we got an email around 7 a.m. to say the offices were closed for the day due to a case of flooding. They had to replace the floors and cabinets in both bathrooms from water damage, and I never admitted it. I was terrified they would find out it was me, and I still work here. So what? They're not going to find out, surely. No? Accidents happen, Shauna, don't they?
Yeah, that would freak me out though. I'm such an overthinker and I get very panicked about these things. So like that would be on my mind for the next 5 years. I'd be like, anytime a manager is like literally
5 years.
Yeah, anytime a manager would call me in for like a chat, I'd be like, oh my god, they know about the leaking sink. I'm getting fired. I'm getting booted out.
I don't know. Like, I think that like you're totally fine. I think that this stuff happens. Like, I'm thinking back to like stuff that I've done on the radio that I probably shouldn't have done, and was delighted my boss wasn't listening at the time.
Yeah.
But if he did find out, would he go back and get rid of me? No, probably not. Like, I don't think so. It's not like anyone was crazy.
I know.
But that is.
I would say that's really scary, actually, that the radio is live.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, did I just say that?
Yeah, no, but the live element to it is the fun part. You just throw the microphone up and you just let your brain take you where you want to go, which I say for someone like you could be a dangerous game to play sometimes. But I mean, it's a fun game as well. But the great thing about live radio is unless someone's recording the radio, then it's in the moment, it's gone. You know what I mean? So there's that too.
God, I never thought of that before.
Yeah, it's not like you can rewind radio. It's like you're in your car, you're driving, you have a moment with the radio if something happens, and it's gone forever. And that's what I love about the radio, that the likes of Spotify and podcasts and stuff, I just think will never be able to kind of match. And that's the element of you have that moment and then it's gone. And it's like, that was nice, So
That's
yeah.
really cool. And like every day is very different as well, I suppose, depending on like what's being sent in, like what music you're playing, what the weather is like.
Yeah, and your mood, of course, as well. But
Actually, yeah. How would you cope with like a long day, like on the radio, if you were in the worst mood ever?
Being honest, this is gonna sound so cheesy. Like putting a microphone up actually puts me in the best mood ever, you know. And I have used my radio show like over the last 10 years to like to talk to people who are listening live and tell them what's going on. I'm very personal on my show,
Yeah.
because why not? Like you know, and but the best part is getting people to interact back with me with their voice notes and telling me about their day, and that always makes me 10 times better. The people who get in touch, that is. I know 9 times out of 10, someone listening to a radio DJ say, "Send me a voice note." They're going to go, go away, not a chance. But the people that do, like, they put me in the best mood ever. So, and it makes it two-way then, you know, instead of just me just chatting to myself, annoying whoever's on the other end.
Yeah, definitely. And just before we finish up, do you have any secrets or confessions or like iconic life moments you want to share? Because I feel like you're a good person for this sort of a thing.
Oh my God. Well, one secret that I've only started recently saying is that when I went on Take Me Out, I actually staged the whole thing. So people are well aware of the fact that I went on Take Me Out years ago. But when they asked me to do it originally, I said no. And I tweeted thinking I was the fucking shit then, being like, "Oh, Take Me Out just called. It's going to be a no for me." And my friend Maeve, who was on the 30 girls on the panel, she saw my tweet as they were filming and was like, "Please come on. They're not giving me a guy that I'd like, and I really want to get off the show. If you come on, I'll leave my light on for you. And then you're guaranteed a date. You don't get embarrassed, and then I get to get off the show." So I went on, and the 30 girls are in front of you, and you're playing the game, and Maeve was one of them. And in my head, I was always picking her. So if you ever watch it back, it's kind of funny watching it back, knowing that I actually know Maeve, because our acting is really bad in some parts where we're pretending we don't know each other. You know what I mean? Because
I couldn't do it. And you know what? The thing is, I think it's a sign, because I actually got asked to do another 2 dating shows in the last 2 weeks. And
I think they might have been the same as the ones that I got asked to do as well. Yeah.
I was like, is this a sign? Should I actually?
My girlfriend got asked, so we both got emails from one of them, which I presume it's the same one that you got. And me and my girlfriend, we both got emails from the producers asking us to do it. And we said it'd be so funny if we just staged it in a way that we went on the same episode.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
But no, we were like, no, we're not going to do it. I think that was a great way to kind of get yourself out there as well, not from a love point of view, but
it's like the fear of like, you just even go on a show like that for some fun, and then like all of a sudden you're like trending on Twitter, and
I know,
you know what I mean? And it's like, is it even worth it anymore? But it's kind of like, why are we letting the trolls win? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't turn down every opportunity forever to be just because you'd be like, oh my God, what are they going to do? What are they going to say? Because that's like living your life in fear of the trolls.
Yeah, I do. I'd be lying if I say I don't search my name sometimes on Twitter, but I actually have gotten to the point where I like laughing at what they say. So like yesterday, for example, there was a guy just giving out about how I'm a shy DJ. But the funny thing is, he wouldn't tag me. I'm like, come on. Some of them can be funny as well, you know, as in they don't like you, but their comment about you can be witty sometimes, and they're the funny ones. Do you get me? Like, you're like, okay, I'll give that one to you. You got me there, 100%.
Yeah, I don't mind if it's someone taking the piss, but I don't like the nastiness.
The nastiness is the bad thing. Yeah.
Like, what I just don't like is when people make up things that simply aren't true, or like like big things. I'm like, that's full on defamation and slander. Like,
oh, stop. Like, and I know people would think that I'm going to say this because I'm on like a podcast with you, but like, I've never ever done a drug. Like, I've never done a drug. So like, you know, and being a DJ, people automatically assume that you're mad for pills and cocaine and all this stuff, and I've never done it. And then there was rumors going around that I'm doing it, I'm selling it, and I'm just like, this is so funny because it's so far from the truth. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
It's like people will literally make up something, add arms, legs, and tails to it, and suddenly it's crazy. But I had a great time chatting with you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm glad we finally got it worked out as well to get it done.
For being involved. We're delighted that we had you on and everything worked out. And yeah, thank you so much for all of the advice and the laughs that you gave us. So that's it for today's podcast, guys. As always, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much to everyone who sent in secrets. Be sure to tune in again in 2 weeks' time for another podcast. We'll see you then, guys.